Hey viewers, if you want your stories, experiences of infidelity, breakup, cheating, to be narrated and get featured to others in our Mr. Cool's Planet community, feel free to submit your stories to the mail given in description. Either way, please don't forget to subscribe if you like the channel. Let's go.
Hey there, curious minds. We've got some incredible stories lined up for you today that will take you on a journey of laughter, tears, and everything in between. We believe that every story is worth sharing, and we're excited to have you here. Let's start the show. Story 1. Found out my fiance 31F has been cheating, unsure of my next step. So, I'll try and keep this straightforward and concise. I am 32 and my partner 31F have been together since 2012, engaged for 6 years, parents to a 3-year-old son. The last 6 to 12 months have been pretty rough for us. The flame had been dim, we weren't sure if we were losing our spark. I just put it down to being parents, these things happen. We weren't having date nights as childcare was hard to organize, we were always tired after working, we both start at 6 a.m. at the same place too, multiple other factors, but as I said, I just put it down to being parents, and maybe other factors like the cost of living. These things are going to happen, we're going to have off periods. For a while, she was going out to her friends twice, maybe 3 times a week. I would put our son to bed and she would go, and not come home until gone midnight, that's on a work night too. I always thought she was going to her friends to vent about me, about how sh*t her relationship is. I thought she was going to get away from me. Whilst she was out at her friends, I was working out at home, pampering in an effort to do what I could to better myself, mainly for her. I'd listen to Fresh and Fit, a podcast about being masculine. It's been my favorite podcast for a good few months, and has taught me a lot. Anyway, this last week, I have been doing overtime at work, starting at 2 a.m. On Thursday morning, I was lying next to her. She had not long been asleep as she went to her friends on the Wednesday night. I think I heard her come home just before midnight, and creep into bed. I couldn't really sleep, knowing I was getting up in less than a couple of hours anyway, so I decided to check her phone. This is not something I've ever wanted to do, or have ever done in our relationship. I have always respected her privacy. I was looking for chats with her friends. I was looking to find confirmation that she was indeed talking down about our relationship. Unfortunately, what I found hurt me more. I discovered that she was going to see a guy, and not her friends. I took pictures of their Instagram chat, put her phone back on charge, and got ready for work. Originally, I wanted to play my cards close to my chest. Being a man, I wasn't sure what I had rights to, like what would happen with our son, our house and car that I had put the large deposits down for. I was angry and upset. I wanted to leave her with nothing. So I wanted to get as much advice as I could before the confrontation. Anyway, Friday soon came. She was awake getting ready for work, and I was up too. It was my day off work. I had hardly slept, and was clearly acting weird. She asked me if I was okay. I tried to play it off and stick to my plan, but I couldn't. I asked her about the guy, and she rang absent at work and we talked for hours. She was distraught, didn't know why she did it, although she put it down to lack of attention. But overall, yep, she was non-stop crying, distraught, and begging for me to stay with her. After more talks and tears, I decided I wanted to give it time before splitting up, and see if we can make it work. I know, I'm a mug. I never thought she was capable of something like this. She had come from an abusive upbringing, and cheated on in previous relationships, therefore was always really strongly against cheating, and made that so clear throughout our relationship. I know in my head that I could never cheat, trust me, I'm not bragging, but there's been opportunities, I just could never do that to her. But yeah, I suppose that's all I have on that story at the minute. Her family knows now, they're really angry and disappointed in her. My mum knows, surprisingly she wants me to give things a try. I'm in limbo. It's still pretty raw, and early days. I still imagine what she's done, and I can't get rid of those thoughts, but I also love her so much. Seeing her upset and broken like this, despite what she's done, absolutely kills me. We did have something good. I want to believe we can get that back if we both more her now puts in the effort, but I'm scared of not being able to escape these thoughts I'm having. I haven't even listened to the Fresh and Fit podcast, as I feel like a hypocrite. The guys on that show would tell me to throw her out, and she's never respected me for her to do something like that. Has anybody ever had the same experience and it worked out in the end? My dear comrade, all I am going to say is by accepting this and moving on, it will tell her it's okay for her to continue the same shit again. She got you to babysit while she went out to have her fun. She also said she went to a friend so they were in on it as well. Looks like you were probably the only one not to know. Not enough tears to repair that damage. Take steps to exit, lawyer find out likely outcome, DNA especially, and keep it a secret until you're ready to go. Don't let her fool you. Every word out of her mouth will be a lie to convince you to stay. She is not far away from getting an even bigger payday from you. Stay strong. Story 2. She cheated on me. It messed me up more than I can say. I don't know really where to start. I guess I can start on August 2021. Something was wrong with our phones. We had to switch for some reason or another. I see a lot of displaced text message between her and a coworker, let's just call him Bill, such as her saying, "Are you home?" Her sending him circus coupons for the circus. We'd never discussed going to anything like that. But the weird part, there were no replies from him. At the time I didn't feel it was necessary to go through the rest of her phone, but I did confront her about. She just chalked up as, "Oh, I have to know where he is, and he's got kids, so thought it was nice for me to send that." That was the end of that. Fast forward a few weeks later, I catch COVID, one of the worst times of my life, 2 weeks of isolation, with no one around me, not able to talk to my son. At least I have my wife to comfort me through it, right? Wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. Mind you, we live in the same house and I texted or spoke to her 3 times during that time. There was a moment where I had to confront her about it. It was weird, a wife not comforting or at least engaging with her husband, who, mind you, at the time COVID was awful. The physical pain I was going through was excruciating, trying to keep fluids in my body. Cold sweats causing my body to ache. All I wanted was my wife to at least text me or talk to me. I'd go 2 days without hearing from her. Her mom even at one point was concerned about my health and well-being. She's acting weird. She says, "Make sure you keep listening to your intuition." Fast forward to the day I seen it, caught it, heard it. New Year's Eve of 2022, she gets off work, comes home, lays down and sleeps. I am watching my son, and he has her phone watching YouTube videos and whatnot. He comes to me and hands me the phone. A text message had come through. I check it and it's from Bill. Hey, it made me curious. I went through the conversations and there was nothing there. It was like bits and pieces had been deleted. I check the deleted section, over 500 deleted voice messages. I recover all of them. I found them there. It was the smoking gun. "I want your mouth wrapped around my dick again. I'd love to be you." I freaked out. I don't know what to do. I didn't want to hear the rest. Her mom right there, her grandma right there. Her mom knew what I had found without saying anything. She says, "Wake her up." She takes my son outside. I go wake her up and she's surprised. I'm upset, livid. She tells me it was just a one-time thing, but that was bullshit. She's been having an affair the last 9 months. I was broken. I left. What it did to me mentally was what was worse. The aftermath and fallout was awful. I was gaslighted into it being my fault. I told his wife, and things got much worse from there. I want to go over everything, but this is long already. Was I perfect? No, but I did nothing to deserve that. I have so many more scars from this. Hey dude. Divorce her. She had an affair and tried to gaslight. Why the F would it be your fault that she can't keep her legs closed in the presence of other men? Don't bother with counseling. They only get paid to save marriages that should be ended, and they'll probably end up gaslighting you too. As a man, you should never tolerate disrespect like this. Story 3. Wife 35F cheated on me 32M. My wife 35F cheated on me 32M, I don't know what to do. She says she only emotionally cheated but they never had sex. Their messages had stuff like what her favorite sexual position was. She would say she missed him, they talked every day while I was at work and she would go over there every day. One message she said they need to fix the hinges on this door to a barn and he said yeah we do wink wink. Just trying to give some examples. She said things like she would ruin her whole life, her life with me, for him and he would send her long messages on what her wanted to do to her in detail. The last night they hung out she went Mia for 6 hours and told me she was at her mom's house but she wasn't there and come to find out she was with him at her brother's house which is also next door. These houses are on a small property all next to each other with the guy living behind the property in his trailer. She asked him in a text that night saying OMG do you have to eat keys to Will's house, her brother's house, and then said never mind she found them. Their conversations were like a couple would talk but she said they never even kissed. Is it possible she just did this for attention? Am I crazy to think they had sex after they had been saying they were tempted to do it for so long? She was also so drunk that night that she talked about the keys. I had to go pick her up from a gas station out by her mom's house. I wish I could show the messages but I can't upload them to this page. Need advice on what to do. She tried to kill herself when I found out and I spent weekend in the hospital with her. She took a lot of sleeping meds is what she did to end up in the hospital and had to call an ambulance. She swears she will never do it again. Should I give her another chance or leave her? She says she admits to emotionally cheating but she never had sex with him. What do I do? Buddy, listen. She went over to the app's place every day for hours and they had sex, lots of it, every day, in all those positions mentioned in the messages and more. She said she was willing to ruin her life with you for the AP, well, that's what she has done. Get an STD test and see a lawyer ASAP. Go and seek Greyrock 180, let her mom and the AP deal with her hospitalization, she is not longer your concern. Follow the lawyer's advice, and file ASAP. Story 4. I am 32, believe my wife F26 of 5 years has cheated on me with an ex-boyfriend and I can't get the idea out of my head. It started almost 2 years ago when I caught her the first time talking on the phone with him and she lied to me about who she was talking to until I finally proved to her that I knew she was lying to me. She met up with him and lied to me about that until again I told her my proof. Then probably 5 or so more times I've caught her messaging him on apps like Snapchat or regular text but she deleted them so I couldn't see what the conversation was. She's always covered her tracks when it comes to deleting messages and she'll lie to me that she's hanging out with one of her friends when in reality it was him. And I asked her to tell me the truth and she lied each time until I proved definitely that I knew she was lying, then she'd finally admit it. Finally about a week ago she said she was hanging out with a friend while I was at work. I, being suspicious, used Find My iPhone and sure enough she was at his house for approximately 2.5 hours from 10 p.m. to about 1 when she went home. I got home from work and confronted her and again she lied until I proved it. This time she stated she doesn't know why she does it and also that she still misses him. We had a lengthy conversation and she swore to me that she has never cheated on me, and that she could never do that to me because despite her feelings we are married and she loves me. Eventually after many hours of talking we have sex, and I know this may sound like paranoia but I swear her chest smelled of someone else's sweat, not hers, and not mine. She hadn't yet showered from coming home the night before. I know what she smells like. We've been married for just about 5 years, and I know it wasn't my sweat odor. This fucked with my head and I kept it inside until the next day until I had to ask her again if she cheated. Again she swore to me she hadn't. And said this was clearly too much for me to handle because I was starting to get paranoid. She said she can't keep hurting my trust like this and said maybe we should take a break and that she would stay with her parents for a while. I deeply did not like this idea and voiced my opposition to this plan. She said it would be for the best while she figured out herself and why she keeps doing. She packed all her things and I cried at the thought of her possibly being out of my life. She cuddled with me when she was done packing and ended up not leaving. The next morning she said she would stay because she would miss me too much. But now a week later the thought that she has cheated won't escape my head and I don't know what to do. This is the woman I love with everything I have. Our relationship is a good one for the most part and we have no major issues in our marriage besides this. I'm terrified at the idea of her not being in my life. I know she does love me and I her. At the same time I feel like she has no point in telling me the truth and is scarily good at lying. I can't 100% prove she's ever truly cheated, but I feel like the evidence would make anyone come to that conclusion. I also can't help but feel like perhaps I'm her second best option and that she loves her ex more than me. I don't want to lose her, but I don't want to feel like this. And I feel I can't console in anyone I know personally. So I'm asking internet strangers for advice to get over this. How to possibly salvage my relationship and stay with my soulmate and be happy. Dude, wake up. Of course she's cheating. You believe she wouldn't have sex with him. Why? She constantly lies to you. Why would you trust her with anything? My advice is to leave her and find someone who respects you and makes you happy. But if you want to stay married to a woman who constantly cheats and lies, stay with her. Story 5. Wife of 10 years is cheating, every path forward feels awful. We've had our ups and downs, but I always thought we were mostly happy. She's been acting weird the past 2 weeks, so I check our phone bill and she's talking to some guy for 2 hours a day, basically every time she's in the car or I leave the house she calls him. I confronted her and she admitted it was a guy she met a month ago who she did tell me about at the time. But insists he's just a friend and she's hurt that I don't trust her. The whole fight was about what I've done wrong. She has a business trip this week which I've known about, but I caught a piece of her conversation on our Ring camera that she can't wait to see him the day she leaves for her trip. I confront her again and she creates all sorts of excuses like it was a test and I failed, or she is having an emotional affair and thought about meeting him on their trip but wasn't sure. Her friend told me today there is no business trip. She's taking a couple days off work to meet him. She also said this isn't the first time. We have kids, a house, our entire lives are intertwined. I have no idea what to do. I can't afford this house on my own, maybe she can. I have family that's supportive and would take me in for a while, but it would add an hour to my commute each way when I have to drop off or pick up kids. I know she's going to be mean and vindictive the entire divorce process. She'll never admit fault for anything. Everything's going to be so hard. Amigo. Please listen to this advice. Document, document, document. I can't stress this enough. You need to document. If she is having an affair, she already has an exit plan and has a strategy lined up and already has anything of documentation she may think will help her cause. You have to be prepared. Also, you must plan for worst case scenario. You don't know your spouse anymore. You may think you do, but you don't. There will be no punches pulled. You are being gaslight when confronting her behavior, therefore the mental games have already started. I don't want to sound harsh, but this is advice I wish I would have listened to. So that's the wind up on today's stories. We hope you enjoyed the ride and gained some valuable insights along the way. Don't forget to drop a comment below and let us know which story resonated with you the most. Hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest tales, and join our community of story lovers. Until next time, keep seeking out new stories and keep broadening your horizons.